Like a flamenco guitar aged by storms, Antonio Banderas now carries elegance etched in silver strands and softer steps. Once Zorro's blade in a black mask, he now crafts voice, vision, and scent, directing indie gems and launching fragrance lines, proving allure evolves beyond swashbuckling. Once the face of reckless youth sprinting across rooftops, now a precision-driven producer crafting spectacles from behind the scenes. Tom Cruise still leaps for his art, but with calculated fire, less rebel pilot, more architect of adrenaline in an era ruled by CGI and controlled chaos. Rocky taught a generation to fight uphill battles. Now Sylvester Stallone mentors from ringside, his bulk traded for worn wisdom. Decades past his prime, he shaped legacies in script and blood, building franchises and lifting underdogs, long after the spotlight stopped chasing him. Once cloaked in ER scrubs or heisting Vegas vaults with effortless charm, George Clooney now paces quiet sets as a director, his salt-and-pepper hair-framing eyes that seen both glamour and grit. He traded the red carpet for global causes and sharp scripts that cut deeper than bullets. Like a weathered tank that once crushed box office records, Arnold Schwarzenegger moves slower now, but his voice booms with legacy. The Terminator's steel frame has softened, but he's shifted gears, governing, mentoring, and speaking out, no longer chasing machines but meaning. Once the smirking rogue who walked barefoot through glass, now he steps away from the spotlight with quiet dignity. Bruce Willis, action's unlikely poet, faced cognitive decline head-on. His iconic smirk faded, but his impact echoes in every reluctant hero who followed. Indiana Jones once raced boulders and dodged bullets. Now Harrison Ford walks with earned creaks, but eyes still sharp with purpose. Time may have stiffened his stride, but he returns by choice, not nostalgia, proving legacy isn't stuck in amber, it's carved into pop culture's bones. Like a scorched script rewritten in the margins, Mel Gibson's story burns with chaos and craft. Once Braveheart's bloodied rebel, now a director with a pen dipped in fury and faith. His once sculpted form softened, but behind the camera, he wages battles more lasting than war cries. Once the cold-eyed cowboy who whispered death from the shadows, now Clint Eastwood directs from behind the lens, spine curved like a drawn bow. At 94, he no longer draws guns, but stories. His gravel voice and slow gait commanding sets the way his squint once commanded silence. Back then, he growled through firestorms and dystopias. Now Kurt Russell leans into legacy, his mane grayer, his swagger slower. From Snake Plissken to Santa Claus, he's embraced reinvention without apology, favoring heart over heat as he lifts character above carnage. Before we continue these amazing celebrity transformations, here's a quick challenge for you. Can you subscribe to Then vs. Now Legends in the next 5 seconds? Smash that subscribe button and join us on this journey through time with your favorite stars. Like a coiled spring, weathered by time, Jean-Claude Van Damme no longer splits between chairs, but his balance now lies in clarity. The muscles from Brussels swapped flash kicks for reflection, training others, shaping indie gems, and living with the discipline he once fought to prove. Once the trenchcoated messiah of cyberpunk cool, now Keanu Reeves moves with quieter intensity, less Neo, more craftsman. His hair long, his posture looser, but he builds each role with reverence. In an age of fast fame, he chose mythos over noise, presence over spectacle. The original Bond, suave, lethal, unmistakable, Sean Connery redefined masculinity in a tux. Later years saw him retreat to quiet shores, voice roughened, stride slower, yet presence undiminished. He chose legacy over limelight, leaving a mark no shaken martini could blur. Like a weathered canvas brushed by time, Robert Redford's face tells stories deeper than lines can hide. From Butch Cassidy to Sundance founder, he reshaped Hollywood's bones. His golden looks faded into sage presence, trading box office for storytelling that lingers longer. He danced through danger and romance with raw grace, Dirty Dancing, Point Break, Ghost. Patrick Swayze battled cancer like he did villains, unflinching, full-hearted. His body gave out, but not his legend. It lives where movement meets emotion, wild and immortal. Once the wild-eyed face of chaotic brilliance, face/off care. Now Nicolas Cage thrives on reinvention. His hairline's thinner, his gaze deeper, and he's turned cult icon by choice, not accident. In a digital age, he stays analog, unpredictable, relentless, defiantly himself. Like a seasoned blade, Denzel Washington has shed flash for force. Once the action anchor of Man on Fire, now his frame moves less swiftly, but with precision. Gray streaks line his crown, yet every word cuts clean. Behind the camera, he directs with the same unshakable fire. Charles Bronson wasn't loud, he didn't need to be. His steely glare from Death Wish did the talking. Off-screen, he aged into near silence, retreating from fame with grace. The mustache grayed, the fists slowed, but his imprint remains: vengeance, grit, and minimalism immortal. From Bad Boys swagger to red carpet calm, Will Smith's transformation is more than age, it's recalibration. The high top fade's gone, replaced by a quieter gaze shaped by peaks and stumbles. Muscles softer, rolls deeper, he now chases meaning over momentum, legacy over flash. Like a golden statue weathered by wind, Brad Pitt's face bears the beauty of erosion. Once Hollywood's untouchable rogue, now a producer of quiet storms. The abs faded, but the artistry grew. He curates stories with grit, stepping behind the lens while still haunting the frame. He once spun disco balls and dodged bullets. Now John Travolta glides through life with a shaved head and steadier pace. From Grease to face/off, his rhythm shifted, but never stopped. He's turned grief into grace and traded stardom for soul, lifting others as he moves. Burt Reynolds was Hollywood's mustache thunder, now only echoes remain. Once the shirtless rebel in Smokey and the Bandit, he aged into gravel-voiced wisdom. His swagger faded gently, replaced by storytelling and self-parody, embracing his myth before the curtain fell. He once roundhouse kicked through villains and VHS tapes alike. Now Chuck Norris walks with a legend trailing him like a shadow. Muscles less defined, movement slower, but his presence still hits hard. Beyond the memes, he built martial arts schools and shaped quiet discipline. Once the ponytailed force who broke arms and box office rules, Steven Seagal now moves with the heavy calm of a man untethered from fame. His frame has thickened, his screen time narrowed, but he channels his energy into law enforcement work in global alliances, far from LA. He once towered as Ivan Drago, a living sculpture of cold muscle. Now Dolph Lundgren walks slower, scarred by surgeries and time. Yet beneath the graying temples is a chemical engineer turned filmmaker, mentoring the next wave with intellect sharpened beyond brute force. He once flew through windows and fire with a grin. Jackie Chan, bruised but unbeaten, now directs stunts instead of performing them. His joints ache, his hair has silvered, but his influence runs global. Where CGI now rules, he left behind a legacy stitched with real sweat. Like lightning bottled too briefly, Bruce Lee's impact defied time. Though he passed at 32, his ripple reshaped cinema, martial arts, and culture. He never aged, but his philosophy matured across generations, striking harder than any punch he threw in Enter the Dragon. They called him the Hammer. Fred Williamson brought gridiron fury to blaxploitation cinema. Now in his late 80s, the afro trimmed, the voice gruffer, he still speaks with purpose. While Hollywood moved on, he kept building indie sets, proof that swagger can outlast spotlight. A panther in motion, Jim Kelly fused martial arts with soul, carving space for black heroes in fight cinema. Gone too soon at 67, his afro iconic, his kicks electric. He shattered stereotypes with every spin. His legacy isn't just cool, it's a cultural pivot still in motion. Once the silent storm of American Ninja, Michael Dudikoff now lives in near retirement. Muscles relaxed, hair faded, but his aura intact. While CGI swallowed his era, he stayed grounded, mentoring quietly and proving that some warriors leave without a sound but never vanish. In the 90s, Jeff Speakman delivered the perfect weapon, clean strikes, no nonsense. Now at 67, his physique is leaner, his tempo slower, but he's found purpose beyond screen fights. As a Kenpo grandmaster and mentor, he trains warriors of spirit, not just form or fame. Once a whirlwind of grace and fury, Jet Li now walks carefully, slowed by illness and age. The hair has thinned, the frame lightened, but his spirit deepened. He turned from global icon to quiet teacher, speaking of inner peace where once he wielded cinematic chaos. Like a scratched VHS tape of Terminator or Aliens, Michael Biehn's career hums with cult energy. Age dulled his edge, but not his eyes. He never chased stardom's spotlight, choosing indie shadows and character grit. Time didn't erase him, it etched him deeper into genre lore. Like a comet that burned bright through storm and steel, Bill Paxton lit up Aliens and Twister with a fire that never flickered. Though he left us in 2017, his legacy lives on in every storm chaser and sci-fi soldier, proof that some voices echo louder after silence falls. Once the flinty stare behind Bishop in Aliens, now 90 and weathered like an old cathedral, Lance Henriksen moves slower, but with the weight of decades behind each word. With roles fewer and quieter, he's chosen depth over firepower, becoming a mythic figure in genre history. Leather, spikes, and madness, Vernon Wells stormed onto screens as Mad Max 2's Wes, a snarling icon of dystopian rage. Now 81, softer in frame but sharp in spirit, he mentors indie filmmakers and celebrates raw action in a CGI age, championing the grit he once embodied. He was the Highlander, sword raised, lightning flashing, immortal and unyielding. At 68, Christopher Lambert bears a quieter presence, his voice rasped by time, his posture gentler. Once a symbol of eternal battle, now a mentor in indie circles, guarding legacy over fame. Like a thunderstorm turned to mist, Rutger Hauer faded from this world in 2019, but his spirit lingers. From Blade Runner's haunted replicant to quiet European dramas, he shifted from fury to depth, showing that action heroes can weep, bleed, and dream before they vanish. Once the stoic soul of Dances with Wolves and the Bodyguard, now 70, Kevin Costner rides a different trail, grayer, leaner, but no less commanding. Choosing authorship over stardom, he crafts frontier epics in a digital age, proving some stories demand weathered hands. He flew jets in the right stuff and outran chaos with a grin that lit the 80s. At 71, Dennis Quaid stands leaner, his swagger slowed but intact. Shifting from thrill-seeker to seasoned storyteller, he now sings, writes, and uplifts indie sets, less kinetic, more deliberate. Once a flamethrower of charisma, Top Gun's Iceman, The Doors' Morrison, now he speaks with his eyes, his voice stolen by illness. At 65, Val Kilmer radiates resilience, his silhouette changed but presence unshaken, creating art and poetry where bullets once flew. He once strode through thrillers with clipped rage and leading man precision. Now 67, Alec Baldwin wears his years in softened jawlines and slower steps. With comedy, controversy, and fatherhood reshaping his screen time, he's become a portrait of complexity in real time. Like a weathered guitar that still strums soul-deep notes, Jeff Bridges, now 75, carries the echo of The Big Lebowski and Tron. Thinner, slower, cancer-scarred, but unbroken, he blends gravel and grace in recent roles, showing that legends don't fade, they evolve. Gordon Gekko once redefined ruthless charm. At 80, Michael Douglas has traded Wall Street for quieter roles and family life. His voice is raspier, his frame more reserved, yet his screen presence remains taut. A producer, mentor, and survivor, his second act is legacy work. Once the silver screen's smoothest rebel, from American Gigolo to Pretty Woman, now at 80, Richard Gere moves with measured elegance. His activism eclipses box office glory, choosing global justice over glossy scripts. Less icon, more citizen of conscience and calm. Like a classic timepiece, Paul Newman ticked with purpose long after the spotlight dimmed. From cool hand Luke to philanthropist Titan, he aged with grit and grace. Since his passing in 2008, his legacy simmers in salad aisles and film reels, precision, passion, and soul. Once the bruised heart of 9.5 weeks and the wrestler, now 72, Mickey Rourke wears every scar on skin and soul. His body's reshaped, his voice slower, but he never left the fight. Choosing raw over polished, he haunts indie sets like a ghost from Hollywood's darker edge. Mustache thick, eyes steel blue. Tom Selleck chased justice in Magnum, PI like a sun-soaked cowboy. Now 80, broader in frame and gentler in pace, he anchors Blue Bloods with quiet command. Less beach chases, more boardroom grit, still leading, just differently cast. Miami Vice redefined cool, and Don Johnson was at Heartbeat. Now 75, with silver hair and a relaxed gait, he leans into character roles with quiet fire. The pastel suits are gone, but his instincts remain sharp, trading neon flash for slow-burn gravitas in a shifting industry. Running beaches in slow motion, chest out and hero-bound, David Hasselhoff was Baywatch. At 72, the pace is slowed, the frame softer, but he remains self-aware and ever-game. He sings, produces, and parodies his past, building a legacy out of both irony and influence. He kicked in Hollywood's doors as Shaft, fierce and unforgettable. When Richard Roundtree passed in 2023, he left more than memories, he left a blueprint. He moved with less swagger in later years, but more purpose, mentoring young black talent with strength, not noise. He once roared across TV screens on a chopper in Renegade, fists flying and hair flowing. Now 67, Lorenzo Lamas trades stunt work for stage roles and flying lessons. His once chiseled frame now leaner, his energy focused on storytelling, self-discovery, and second wins. Once the impeccably tailored agent in GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan now wears time like a velvet suit gracefully. At 72, the tux is traded for artists' smocks and dramatic scripts. Thinner, silver at the temples, he paints, performs, and redefines elegance beyond espionage. Like a mountain carved by time, Matthias Hughes, I come in pieces towering force, is now 66 and tempered. The muscles have softened, but the intensity smolders. He teaches now, shaping young stunt talent and guarding the raw power of practical action in a digitized world. He spun through screens with fluid fury and only the strong and crying Freeman. Now 63, Mark Dacascos still moves with precision, slimmer, wiser, now guiding from behind the camera. Between stunt work and voice roles, he's proof that martial mastery doesn't fade. It adapts. Karate Kid 3's Terry Silver once fought with venom and flair. At 63, Thomas Ian Griffith re-emerged with steelier eyes and toned-down menace. Retired for years, then revived by Cobra Kai, he now embraces craft over combat, his screen presence sharpened by reflection. He was Superman, caped, noble, untouchable. But after 1995, Christopher Reeve became something greater. Until his passing in 2004, he redefined courage, paralyzed but unyielding, an advocate for spinal research. His body failed him, but his legacy still soars higher. Once the golden-haired savior of the universe in Flash Gordon, Sam J. Jones now walks at 70 with quieter strength. The cape's gone, the physique softened, but his cult status endures. He appears at conventions, guards his legacy, and inspires fans who never stop believing. Like a silk tie preserved in cedar, Roger Moore aged with charm and ease. The suavest Bond, he passed in 2017, leaving behind not just shaken martinis but decades of UNICEF work. His body grew frail, his voice softer, but his influence stretched far beyond tuxedos and quips. He brought a darker, brooding edge to Bond long before it was cool. Now 80, Timothy Dalton trades fist for gravitas, his frame lean, posture regal. Though fewer on-screen brawls remain, he lends weight to prestige dramas, proving presence isn't always measured in explosions. Once known for epic drama, Liam Neeson rebranded as cinema's unlikely Avenger in his 50s. Now 72, his gait is heavier, his voice more gravel than thunder. He's scaling back on the brawls, embracing roles with reflection, proof that action doesn't die, it deepens with time. As the Princess Bride's dashing Wesley, Cary Elwes defined romantic adventure. Now 62, with lines edged deeper and curls subdued, he thrives in genre cameos and conventions. He leans into the nostalgia with humor, shaping a career from both swashbuckles and self-awareness. Like a loaded revolver wrapped in velvet, Powers Booth delivered menace with calm. From Tombstone to Deadwood, he aged with grit. When he passed in 2017, he left behind a legacy of authority and tension. His screen presence never shouted, but it always hit hard. Like a blade tempered in fire, Viggo Mortensen emerged from the Lord of the Rings both battle-worn and poetic. Now 66, his features are leaner, his stride thoughtful. He directs, writes, and paints, choosing introspection over spectacle, but never stepping out of the fight. From Heather's rebel to 90s anti-hero, Christian Slater once dripped chaotic charm. At 55, his voice is still sharp, his frame less angular but seasoned. He's pivoted to narrating, producing, and ensemble roles. Less teen rage, more control, still smoldering under the surface. To Live and Die in L.A. and Manhunter cast William Peterson as the thinking man's action lead. At 73, he's returned to CSI with grayer hair and steadier steps. No longer chasing perps on foot, he commands from behind desks, his intensity intact, just more contained. Then versus Now Legends is feeling a bit lonely. 99% of you haven't subscribed yet. Show us some love and hit that subscribe button so we can keep bringing you the jaw-dropping journeys of your favorite stars. And if you're as fascinated by then and now glow-ups as we are, check out our previous videos. Trust us, they're totally worth your time and ours too.